Okay, we've got a lot of Super Rugby to delve into now with Super Rugby talk. And with the Super Rugby final just on the horizon, this has really ramped up the Super Rugby with what a weekend of semi-finals and two blowout matches, high scoring encounters, and two sides that stood out, that deservedly are finalists. I think the two best sides by far in this competition this season. Chiefs beat the Crusaders 49-12, and the first half was where all the damage was done, and it was pretty much over when they headed into the sheds. Early missed tackles from the Crusaders let them down, and the Chiefs, with their massive ball runners, they've got some really exciting backs, and it looked like they were just running downhill that whole first half. Just too easy, and everything just worked out. They made very little mistakes, and they just kept making massive line breaks and got those big meters. They always put the Crusaders in the back foot so often and dominated in the Crusaders 22. Now, their backs through these runs were Quinn Tupaia. What a player this season. Definite All Black for me, and most likely a starter at 13, because he has just stood out. Those runs he makes through the middle, he's so powerful, and it's just what the Chiefs need to, and it puts pressure on that defensive line of any team, and especially the Crusaders on the weekend. And then the Chiefs also have runners such as Hutchinson, who has been standout over the past few weeks. And, of course, just those extra players they have that can make those big moves, such as Coombs Fabling breaking the line, and his chip kick over the top was quite phenomenal during the match, during the first half. Wow. It's pretty much a story of their game. The Chiefs, they just produced some magic. Tokiaho was power up front, and they produced their forwards and their backs just work together so well to use that up front power that they have and just put Crusaders on the back foot again and again and again. They had pretty much a perfect first half, with the backs producing that magic and going to the sheds at 42-5. Game was pretty much done. The Crusaders simply had no answer to that. Overall, it ended 49-12. What a win for the Chiefs. And they are looking in incredible form. Crusaders, by the way, were possibly the informed top side coming into these finals. If you'd watched them in the past few weeks, they have been just out of the world. And Chiefs at home just demolished them. So how good are they? They looking so good for this final against the Hurricanes. But now that we shift over to the Hurricanes, they are quite incredible as well. And it was quite a different sort of match. So close at half-time, 19-14, with Roygaard obviously lighting up the game in that first half and the second half with his just awareness. That is our All Blacks halfback right there, because of just his overall game, and he can change games with the flick of a switch. His awareness just to see, look up, look at those defensive lines, oh, there's no man there, and he goes straight into those holes. That's something else, to always be so aware and reads the game like a book. So Cam Roygaard, he is such a leader in this Hurricanes side, yet it's not only him. It's the whole Hurricanes side that have been good this season. And they've snapped up on every opportunity they've had. And they did this during this match against the Blues. The Blues in the second half, they made just minor mistakes, a few ill-disciplinary issues, and they just snapped up on it, the Hurricanes. And their supporting runners, who have been so good this season, just on those breaks, were always there. That's where they have been best, on that break, from little mistakes. On those breaks with their backs, they are impossible to stop. What with Whittingham, Josh Morby, and then one guy who was absolutely incredible off the bench, Kenny Naholo. What a trio of wingers they have, the Hurricanes, because those guys, Whittingham holding the top scorer, level with the top scoring of all time record for one season in Super Rugby. Josh Morby, one try away from that. And Kenny Naholo, injured for most of the season, then comes back and scored, 3 tries in his past few games. This team is just stacked. It's a shame that they're all pretty much leaving next year. What stood out for me the most, though, for the Hurricanes is just their discipline. They are just so disciplined in the big moments. They don't throw any opportunities away, as I said before. And that bench is just impact. They lose nothing when they come off the bench, or very little. Such as Cam Royd at guard coming off, and then Inari, who is not actually too far off of the highly likely All Blacks number 9. This Inari, he'd be starting for most other teams in Super Rugby, and yet he's on the beach for our Hurricanes. And Kenny Naholo, he would be starting for every other side as well. This bench is just incredible for the Hurricanes, and these guys, these men who are on the field playing, are just producing so many great opportunities, so many great moments. And Warner Dearns has stood out as well from the Hurricanes. He played so well last night as well. It's a shame he's leaving as well next year. But this side, to go from 19 to 14 and then just obliterate the Blues 57 to 21, how good is that? And that's why we bring you now to the Super Rugby final, because these two sides, Chiefs and the Hurricanes, are going to face off in these have just been the two sides of the tournament. And that is why it's so fitting that they find each other in the final. Hurricanes, of course, at home is a great advantage for them. But now we'll have a quick think of the matchups now. So, up front, I think they'll be matched well. The hookers, that's where I find the best battle. Taukei'aho and Asafo Moore. How good have they been? That impact, that power. These are two All Blacks right there. And talking of All Black selections, there are so many between these two sides. These two sides could possibly put out a whole All Black starting 15. Now, I think the Hurricanes and the Chiefs as well match up in the locking department. Two All Blacks, Tupou Vai and Josh Lord. Wow, these guys are good. Wow, their ball running and their turnover and line-out ability is just quite phenomenal. Their work rate just is undermined and is so big for the Chiefs this season. And then the Hurricanes, they've got Warner Dearns. What a player. And who else has been there for? They've been really, really good, these Hurricanes players, these Hurricanes locks, for them. Caleb Delaney, what a player. Warner Dunes stand out, so they match up so well for these two sides. What else do we have to talk about? Loose forwards? Wow. Now they have power there. Luke Jacobson for the Chiefs. And a few big ball runners. Samapeni Finau. Now he's a big player for the Chiefs. And then the Hurricanes match up well. Duplessis Karifi. Man, he is so huge in the leadership of the team. And he leads by absolute example. Peter Larkai. What a player. And then they've got the back line. The halfback battle, which is probably the most likely to be playing for the All Blacks, Cam Roigard and Cortez Ratama. And then throughout the back line, Dane McKenzie versus Ruben Love. What? This is crazy, these matchups. Billy Proctor versus Quinn Tupaia. Geordie Barrett versus Quinn Tupaia. Wow. And then the back threes versus each other. I think the Hurricanes and the Chiefs are not too far off each other in those back three. The Hurricanes, though, play a different style to the Chiefs. Their backs moves are their main success area. With their turnover approach, the way they get the ball, they turn it over so often, getting over the ball or winning line-out steals or things like that. That's how they get the ball, then they hold the position. That's where they're most dangerous. That's how the Chiefs were most dangerous as well. Possession is where teams will win the game, because when they're on their game with the ball, the Hurricanes can produce incredible moves with the backs. And they can turn games with a flick of a switch. Their execution is top notch. The Hurricanes also match the Chiefs in their forwards area, so that's going to be also a big battle as well. The hard physical approach of the Chiefs and straightforward hit 'em hard approach from the Chiefs with line breaking backs is where they get their success. So if the Chiefs can make the Hurricanes tackle, I think they'll give them a good go. I think they can really win this. While the Hurricanes, if they can hold on to the ball and use their magic, they will be tough to stop. Both teams so good off the bench. So this is going to be a great matchup. Possibly one of the best finals to watch in Super Rugby history. I predict, now this is my forecast for this weekend, is that the Hurricanes will win by 1-7. Because the Hurricanes have just been top-notch this whole season, and I think they can win out in the big games. Yes, they lost to, might have been the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs in a big game early in the season, but I think they're just too hard to stop when they're on their game, and I think they'll be on their game this weekend. Alright, tune in for more.